Welcome in to the Punt Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media at Punt Pass on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Drew Butler. He is at Fromm Jake, puntandpass.com, the number one destination for all things college football. Jake Fromm coming off a bye week. You are back in the swing of things with a huge divisional matchup on Sunday Night Football this weekend. But to kick things off, you just got some really good news before we fired up this podcast. How are you, bro?
Hey man, doing good. Just coming off the bye week, got back into the building this morning, checking my grades on ELC. If you're a UJ student, you know what I'm talking about. And things are looking good for your boy. I got one more quick assignment to turn in, and your boy's getting a little degree. So let's
Awesome.
go. Way to start the day.
Man, that's fantastic news. Congratulations. Finishing up your degree at Georgia while you are in the NFL is quite the accomplishment. So I know your parents are probably really happy. I'm sure your wife is extremely happy as well. And hey, we're all happy for you. So congratulations, Jake Fromm, on graduating from the University of Georgia. Good stuff there.
Brother.
How was that
Appreciate
test? I know you were really, you were grinding over that final last week. I left you alone. I didn't talk to you after our podcast. I was like, I'm just going to let him kind of come back to me. And on Thursday, you were like, hey, man, we doing a podcast? I was like, hey, sweet. How'd the test go? So how was that one?
Yeah, that was a little rough, but we got through it. We made a grade. It may have been passing. I don't quite know, but the grade is passing in the class. That is all that matters.
Yes, that is all that matters. As long as you pass, there's no pictures on a report card as far as
That's right.
concerned. Hey, if you want to get a great picture, though, and if you want to make your holiday extremely special, there's no better way to make a picture look best than by adding a beautiful piece of jewelry from Solomon Brothers Jewelries in that picture. That's right. This episode of Punt and Pass is presented to you by Solomon Brothers Jewelers, the largest diamond and jewelry inventory in the Southeast. It is the holiday season, people. Just a couple of weeks until Christmas Day or whatever you celebrate. To make it that much more special, you have got to get in to Solomon Brothers Jewelers. They have two amazing locations, one in Alpharetta just past the Avalon, the other in Buckhead, 17th floor, Tower Place. And if you go into Solomon Brothers Jewelers and mention the Punt and Pass podcast or just mention myself or Jake, you can get up to 10% off your jewelry purchase. Check them out on social media at Solomon Brothers on Instagram and Twitter. They're also online at SolomonBrothers.com. Solomon Brothers has the lowest prices on the highest quality jewelry and diamonds, guaranteed. We will be announcing the winners, plural, two winners of the $1,000 gift card giveaway from Solomon Brothers on our social media this week. So I cannot wait to let everybody know, and they might have something extra special for December too. So check them out, SolomonBrothers.com. All right, Jake, bowl season starts this weekend. We'll touch those games later on in the week, but we'll just kind of go through some news and notes across the landscape of college football. So to start, the Heisman Trophy ceremony was this past weekend. I don't think it was any surprise. Caleb Williams from USC, the quarterback, won. It was relatively a landslide victory. Max Duggan finished second. CJ Stroud finished third. Stetson Bennett from Georgia finished fourth. Hendon Hooker was fifth in the voting. But really, really cool. I thought Georgia did a great job of following along Stetson's ride up in NYC. I saw a couple of his former teammates, roommates, players went up there to support him. It seemed like a really cool weekend.
Yeah, it really did. Man, I think the UGA football department and kind of everybody involved, the media side of it did a great job of following the event. Made kind of fans of UGA football feel like they were a part of it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just like I thought it was really neat. Got to stay up to date with what's going on. Love the Letterman jacket that Steph wore first night. But yeah, cool stuff. Glad that I got to be a part of it. It's an awesome experience for him and his family. And then congrats too to Caleb Williams for winning the Heisman. That is an incredible feat. Only one of those gets given out every year. I mean, it is just a historic and super honorable trophy in college football.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I've heard, and this is totally a rumor, it's complete hearsay, but I would believe it. I heard that if you win the Heisman Trophy, essentially you make about $1 million a year annually through autograph signings, speeches, kind of royalties. That's kind of like an annuity, if you want to say, of $1 million. Now that might be completely false, but it's just what I've heard. And if you look at like the Nissan Heisman House commercials, those guys going to New York every year, I'm sure doing a autograph signing or a speech or whatever it might be, your numbers certainly go up. So great for Caleb Williams. And he's only a sophomore. I forget about that,
Yeah,
but he
I do
is
too.
super young. And I like your point about Georgia and kind of the digital arm of Georgia football, making it feel like everybody was there, following along the interviews, taking the pictures of Stetson and the other finalists across Manhattan. Really cool. We talked about it a ton last week, but I thought Stetson spoke very candidly about, hey, people are hating on me because I'm here, but it ain't my fault. I didn't vote on it. These are the voters. Like, yeah, of course Hendon Hooker should be here. He was very appreciative. I thought what he said and being there and kind of taking the moment in with his family and friends was really cool. So shout out to Stetson Bennett, but bigger shout out to Caleb Williams for winning the Heisman Trophy. The All-American teams have also come out, Jake. There are 5 recognized official All-American teams across the country, and you're seeing Georgia have about 2 to 3 to 4 first teamers across the board. Jalen Carter, Christopher Smith, Brock Bowers has been up there as well. So we talked about it a bunch. Team success brings individual accolades. It's cool to see players like this, and Christopher Smith specifically, the safety. He's getting a ton of love, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, because Chris, I believe, Chris might have been in my class or the class behind me that came in. Yeah, so it's just cool to see kind of his journey. Been there for a while, redshirted, I believe got injured at one point. And now he's talking about getting accolades and first team this, second team this. And it's just, man, it's cool to see. Had the awesome play in the SC championship game, smart heads up, football IQ. So happy for Chris Smith, man. That's awesome. What a journey. Just been committing, sticking to a grind, sticking to a journey, because he could have transferred like anybody else. He didn't. He stuck to it, put his nose down, and went to work. And look where he's at now.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up. I read an article. You probably have better insight on this than I would, but supposedly Chris came in and he was right behind Richard LeCount, right? And Richard LeCount has been known as one of Kirby's favorite players, his first signing class along with you. And it spoke to what you just said. Chris did not have the best start at Georgia. He was buried on the depth chart. He had to learn from guys like Richard LeCount and kind of take his lumps in order to become that leader. And now it seems like week by week, he is the leader of that defense, which is awesome to see, one of the leaders of that defense. And, with the powerhouse that is Jalen Carter in the center of that defensive line, with the kind of vocal leadership that Chris Smith brings in the backfield, it's special. It's cool to see those guys play off each other.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's just when you come to a big time program, you're always going to have guys who are recruited highly. It's their guys, their favorite guys, and you can get lost in the mix, man, or you can go to work, get bigger, get faster, get stronger, show up practice, show out on the field, and man, if you stick to it, you can be a Chris Smith and be balling here in year 5 or 6.
No doubt. Shout out to all those Georgia Bulldogs who made the All-American teams, first team, second team, third team, whatever it is. It's a huge honor, and we'll see exactly how that matriculates into their college football playoff game against Ohio State later on this month. Switching gears a little bit, some just awfully, terribly sad news out of Starkville, Mississippi. Sunday night, head coach Mike Leach was hospitalized. He had a medical emergency at his house. He was then airlifted to a bigger medical center in Jackson, Mississippi. And Jake, the reports don't sound good. We're not going to assume any of the reports right now, but if you're on social media, a lot of his close friends and families are just saying, this situation is not good. Coach Leach needs your prayers. And you see how important of a figure he is in college football, because former players, writers, other coaches, current players, current media members are just talking about how special of a guy Mike Leach is, what he brings to the game of college football. And man, you really hope he's able to pull through this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super sad, super crazy, and I hope somehow or another he pulls through, because I don't want to see the last of Mike Leach. He's just an incredible coach, incredible man, and gives some of the best one-liners and interviews ever. But man, I hope he pulls through. It's crazy that they haven't released kind
I
of
know.
anything on it. You really don't know what's going on. So kind of pray for anything and really hope it gets better. It doesn't look like a really good situation.
I know, there's no doubt about that. Like you said, there's conflicting reports. There's not much hard line information as to what had happened or what he's going through. Not that that
Yeah.
matters right now. We're just hoping that he gets better quicker. Mississippi State is playing in a bowl game. Their defensive coordinator has been named the interim head coach. So prayers up to Coach Leach. Thinking about some of his amazing rants. The best one, I think, by far, is when he's talking about getting married. And how miserable that process is, and how guys don't care, and how the women turn crazy. It is just so true, so fantastic. He is a legend. There's no doubt about it. So again, prayers to Coach Leach and his family and everybody in the Mississippi State community. Speaking of coaches, Buster Faulkner,
Yeah,
Georgia's offensive
saw that.
assistant, has been named the offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech. I'm assuming you have some pretty good history of Buster Faulkner.
Actually, I really don't. I've run into him a few times in the building.
Oh, did he come
But
after you?
yeah, he came after me. And so yeah, no, but it's really cool to see. That's when you have a successful program, we talk about the players getting accolades. Well, the coaches are going to branch
Yeah.
out too. Coach Lanning, i.e. last year, going and getting a head job after the season. So that's just kind of what you see. It's part of the process, and Kirby's going to go back to work and either refill him or somebody's going to step up and take care of it. But that's just part of having a good program. Part
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Huge credit to Buster Faulkner. I mean, it seemed
Yep.
like he was a guy primed to make a move outside of Georgia based on the success
Yep.
that the offense has had. So big congratulations to him. I think the report said his family's going to continue to live in Oconee and he'll just commute. So that's a double win when you don't have to move your kids from school.
Huge.
Hoping for success for him, except for 1 week out of the year over at Georgia Tech. And then there was another report that Todd Monken was supposedly in the bullseye for Purdue's head coaching job. That kind of fizzled out. You and I have talked about it. I don't think Todd Monken wants to go anywhere. He's 56 years old. He's been there, done that. He's making $2 million a year. He's living in Athens, great quality of life. I just don't think that's a situation that he wants to mess with, and that's good for Georgia and for Kirby Smart when you can have a linchpin of your offensive play calling, Todd Monken, not want to go anywhere. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. That's just my thought process, though, Jake.
I'm with you 100%. I think he's got it good. And if I was him, I would stick it out. Athens, unbelievable place to live, to be. You're with the best team in the country at the moment. Things are looking good for the future too. So if I'm him, man, I'm chilling like a villain. I know Kirby's going to put one of the best defenses together year in and year out. So all I have to do on offense is take care of the football, throw a few shots down the field, be physical in the run game, and I'm good. I'm like a genius. So I'm chilling if I'm him.
Yeah, when the cupboard is full with the recruits and the developed talent that you have,
Right.
it's got to be pretty sweet to be an offensive coordinator. You talked about Athens being a great place to live. Deion Sanders is trying to make Boulder, Colorado, the place to be in college football. And through his first week and a half on the job, buddy, he has, let's just say, shaken things up a bit. We'll start with the Deion Sanders effect. Colorado posted this statistic last week. Jake, the Colorado football Instagram page went from the least followed Instagram page in the Pac-12 conference to the most followed Instagram page in the Pac-12 conference in less than a week. The impressions that Colorado football has gotten and the engagement that Colorado football has gotten on social media alone just in the last 10 days has surpassed anything that college football has ever seen. Prime effect is real, to be determined on what happens on the field, but the recruiting weekends look lavish. Deion's posting videos of giving restaurant reviews at specific places inside and outside of Boulder. And it's a new era. How that translates to actually putting a product on the field, I don't know, but he's making it a place where kids want to go to. And in this transfer portal era, of which early signing day, I think, is next week, buddy, Colorado is up on top of a lot of people's lists.
Yeah, you said it is the prime effect. And I think it's going to be great for 6 months because he doesn't have to play a football game at this moment. and everybody gets to see what the product is. I mean, I think they're going to put out a decent product, but you just cannot sit here and say that they're going to put out an Alabama Georgia type product in year one. Yeah, you would be crazy for saying that. It's going to be an uphill battle, an uphill climb for him. But man, if he keeps doing stuff like this, kids are going to love it. NIL, being coached by Prime, it's so interesting. And I think you're just going to see in this recruiting cycle, they'll have a couple more kids, commit a couple more bigger time kids, fours, maybe a 5-star, a transfer guy. So, eyes on it. I think everybody wants to watch it, see what's going to go on. Because this is basically the college version of Hard Knocks right now, and we get to watch it because they're going to record everything.
Oh, it's already being recorded, and they put it directly on social media.
Yeah, so you're going to see it. It's college Hard Knocks. Prime is smart about that. He's getting clicks, he's getting views, and it's going to get more money and more exposure, and more kids going to buy into it.
There's no question about it. Early signing day is a 3-day period beginning December 21st. So coaches, have fun with your Christmas holiday. Yeah. That's crazy. Speaking of that, did you see Nick Williams got hired by Deion and Colorado? Nick Williams, my teammate at Georgia, safety, who was on the coaching staff. Jake, I believe when you were in school, he'd been at Texas A&M. A&M and Coach Coley pulled him from Georgia. Well, Deion just hired him to be the D-line coach at Colorado. So an ace recruiter, a guy who, as a defensive back, gotta love going to coach with Coach Prime. So we'll have to check in with Nick and see how that's going. But big shout out to UGA alumni and letterman Nick Williams, who's now on staff at Colorado. That early signing day period, though, you see South Carolina's running back going to transfer portal. The wide receiver from Mississippi State, rah-rah, in the transfer portal. And then if you're following Georgia football at all, or any SEC team, really, it's like, hold the phones, hold on this top high school recruit that is thinking about committing on early signing day. If we can get this transfer at Georgia or at Florida or at Tennessee, then we're pushing a high school kid to the side. That is just unprecedented, Jake. It's just never happened before. And you're talking about kids at high school who've got the hats laid out. They're like, hey, it's either Georgia, Florida, Ohio State, Tennessee, Alabama, or I might not be able to go to this school because I'm waiting on what this kid decides. So it's just very interesting. And it's like a free agent in the NFL. It's like, why think a draft pick, which we don't really know, might be able to fit into our system over a guy who's proven, a veteran who we can just plug and play and make a big difference. So it's the new age of college athletics, man, and it's nonstop. It is 24/7, 365, and those transfers have to make their decisions quick so they can enroll in school and get going.
Yeah, it is. It's tough on them. It really is, because in this college football world, it is a win now world. The coaches have to win now to keep their jobs, and so they're going to get guys who can play right away and help the team right away. That's what you're going to see in the transfer portal versus kind of an iffy guy. They know it's a project, a guy they're going to have to put a lot of work into. And I just go to the transfer portal, get a guy who can play right away, and I don't have to worry about it. A guy who knows college football, he knows the grind. It's just easier, in my opinion. But in also a sense, they're going to like the idea of certain guys being from high school, kind of the draft pick, and getting to mold them the way they want to mold them. But at the end of the day, NFL teams late in the season, they go and they sign somebody because they need help. They need gratification right away. That's what the transfer portal is.
There's no doubt about that. Going back to Nick Williams real quick, at Colorado, now on staff with Deion Sanders, I would assume that he probably recruits the Southeast, specifically the Georgia area, with his familiarity in this region. And if him and Deion ever get down in this area and are recruiting top talent, we need to get in touch with them and take them over to Solomon Brothers Jewelers. They would love it. There's absolutely no doubt. If they walk in and they mention Punt Pass, or myself or you, Jake, they can get 10% off their jewelry purchase. And then when they're on their official visits, they'll be looking the best because they will have shopped the largest diamond and jewelry inventory in the Southeast. And I know Prime's got it like that. Nick, maybe not so much right now, definitely not in the same lane as Prime. Not many of us are, but Solomon Brothers is a store for anyone with any budget. They have the lowest prices on the highest quality in jewelry and diamonds, guaranteed. Also custom jewelry designs, lifetime diamond upgrades, and 2 beautiful stores. So no matter where they're at, if they're in Atlanta, they can hit up a Solomon Brothers, either in Alpharetta, just past the Avalon, or in Buckhead, 17th floor, Tower Place. The biggest selection, the best quality, the lowest prices, and an in-store experience that is simply unmatched. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, SolomonBrothers.com. All right, before we let you go, Jake, you mentioned earlier in the show, you're finishing up finals. You are going to graduate. Congratulations. Well, guess what? The players at Georgia right now are going through the exact same thing, but they also have to prepare for a college football playoff game on New Year's Eve. Luckily for them, they don't have to travel far. Christmas holiday is coming up. So I just wanted to ask you, because you've been through it before with this coaching staff and at Georgia, what are these next couple of weeks like? What is the college football playoff prep like with a holiday, with finals, with some time off, and then really getting into game planning for Ohio State?
Yeah, so after the SC championship, you immediately roll into finals week. So you're scrambling with school, but you get that time off of football. You'll have to come in, voluntarily lift, 2 to 3 times. For you guys who are not watching, I did do voluntarily in air quotes there. But you come in, lift a couple times, and then after finals ends, you're kind of basically back to a mini training camp. You're coming in, you're doing one-on-ones, and it's a time for Kirby to kind of get these guys who didn't get many reps throughout the course of the season to get them developed, get them going again. It's really an opportunity for them, but it's a big opportunity for them, but there's still a lot of emphasis and points of emphasis on the ones and the twos, getting their bodies back going, get ready for the bowl game. So it's a tougher grind than you think. It's not just an easy 7-on-7s and stuff like that, man. You're getting back after it. You're doing a lot of one-on-ones, as in good on good, first team O versus first team D, and Kirby likes to get after them at this point of the year, and just he'll randomly throw a young guy, a freshman guy in there, and then a lot of times, depending on the schedule, you'll get your early enrollees, and they'll be able to practice with the team too, which is pretty neat, pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty neat and pretty cool. So, like, when you're doing the one-on-ones right now, before you go home for Christmas break, which usually is the 22nd, 23rd, then you reconvene right after Christmas to start bowl practice, is it just more so fixing and touching up some things from later on in the season? You're not game planning or implementing, third down or red zone for Ohio State yet, are you?
No, it's not. It's not that they're telling you. It's like you're not coming in on Ohio State. Hey, this is what we're doing on first and second down. Like you said, this is what we're doing on third down. No, it's just, hey, we're gonna go put together a couple good periods of practice. Coaches maybe wanting to try something a little bit different, or also, hey, we're really good at this play. Let's try to do it a slightly different way. And it's really more of less beating Ohio State and more, hey, let's just go beat our defense real quick. Let's get better at beating them because they're the best in the country, and then we'll worry about Ohio State next week.
Yeah. So, a great opportunity to get healthy, to fix some things, to try some things. And then right before they break for the holiday, it's when we get back on December 26th, it is Zoom focused on Ohio State for bowl practice. So good insight there from Jake Fromm. When you talk about trying some things, I know you're probably going to dive into the film today. Did you see that short yardage run that the Eagles did against the Giants? I know you'll see it on film, but it was like a tight bunch formation, big bodies, jumbo package, clearly going to try to just ram it up the middle for 1.5 yards. And what they did is everybody crashed down, and Jalen Hurts kind of fakes like he's going to give it to the fullback, and Miles Sanders just bumps out, and he just flicks it out to the side, and he almost ran for a touchdown. I mean, it was wide open. Check that one out on film. Let me know what you think. That's a good play call. Good play.
One thing too, I also love the Lions play there at the end of the game where they had their starting right tackle come in motion and then go out into the flat, catch a ball, first down. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, and he had to declare eligible, right? Did he have to, because he's ineligible now, so he has to declare eligible.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, given the big boys some love, so that's always fun. They enjoy that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're going to finish up this episode by giving Solomon Brothers Jewelers some love. Go check out Solomon Brothers Jewelers. They're also online at solomonbrothers.com, at Solomon Brothers on Instagram and Twitter, the largest diamond and inventory of jewelry in the Southeast. Mention Punt and Pass, and you can get 10% off your jewelry purchase. Check them out. At Solomon Brothers, we'll be announcing the $1,000 gift card giveaways this week on social media, and of course, we'll repeat it right here on the podcast. But Jake, thanks so much, brother. Checking in from the facility, dedicated to the podcast game. I absolutely love it. Congrats on graduating too.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Have a great week, everybody. Follow us on social media at Punt and Pass. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at From Jake, puntandpass.com, and we will talk to you on Thursday. See ya.
We out.